So, English 600 is a class really about formal analysis rather than high theory, but there are three different schools of acting teaching or acting theory that are mostly formal analysis theories that I want to talk about in terms of Topdog, Underdog, and in just generally building out our formal analysis toolkit for talking about plays in general. Three classic teachers of drama, two of whom very famous, all three enormously influential. And I'm going to do one video on each. Today's video is going to be about my man Konstantin Stanislavski, founder of method acting, or the method. It's the Stanislavski method. Followed by Big Bad Bertolt Brecht. He'll get his own video. And less famous but almost equally influential, Keith Johnstone and his theory of status, which he uses to train improvisational actors. Stanislavski is the most influential acting teacher in Western history. No one rivals him for terms of influence and how he's changed acting. And certainly, method acting, the Stanislavski method acting, or an American variation of that, dominated American acting training from at least the middle of the 20th century onward. There's no getting away from it, and in fact, it's now the norm that other kinds of acting training break away from. If you're trying to get beyond something, you're trying to get beyond Stanislavski. Stanislavski is the baseline. If you think of great famous method actors who became film stars, Marlon Brando is the most famous one, but basically the rest of the cast, the Godfather. Look at Pacino, De Niro, Robert Duvall, Meryl Streep. Meryl Streep is a method actress par excellence. There's a lot of joking about method acting as a kind of tutti frutti, hippy dippy, get away from the text. When done properly, it's a form of scene study and script analysis. In fact, script analysis is part of the core of this method. It is a naturalistic acting. Great method actors tend to be much less stagey than the previous generations who were trained. If you think Pacino looks pretty stagey now, go look at Pacino from like 1972, much quieter. This has also helped. Of course, method acting has done very well in film, which works in close-up. You can do smaller things, be very interior. So the emphasis in method acting is on the interior, things that are happening inside a character separate from the language itself. And here is where this gets tricky. And this is true for all three of the methods I'm going to talk about. All of these are theories that we cannot use to write papers in a graduate English class ourselves. They go beyond what we would consider evidence to make cases that just don't have sufficient evidence behind them, because actors don't need to prove that something is true beyond a reasonable doubt. They just need it to be useful to them in a performance. So here's the paradox. For all of these methods, the method and other methods, we can't use these to make our own arguments, but we ought to know that they're happening. There's no way Susan Laurie Parks is unaware of the Stanislavski method. Every actor and director she's ever worked with has been steeped in it to various degrees. It's part of the artistic air she breathes. Even when she breaks away from it, she knows about it. The Stanislavski method teaches actors to look for things that are variously translated, something variously translated as a motivation, an intention, an objective. It asks you, or sometimes an action. Instead of just saying, oh, this is what this person says, why are they saying that? What are they trying to get? Instead of saying why, what are they trying to do? And it usually has an influence on the other characters on stage. What are they trying to get? So you break down a scene looking for the intentions, the things the character's trying to do. What is the language being used for to achieve what goal? And then often actors look for a kind of super objective, an overlying main motivation that will go through that takes the character through the whole play. And sometimes that's right, and sometimes that's wrong. Sometimes that can be constricting and too rigid. Sometimes characters don't go through a play just wanting one big thing all the time. Other times, it's a useful tool. This theory isn't right or wrong. This theory enables good performances and sometimes less good performances. It's a technique for rehearsal and character development. It's very important because it tells actors they have to make a decision about what a character is thinking or feeling that doesn't contradict the language, but that isn't necessarily spelled out. This is the problem for us. All an actor needs is something that the evidence doesn't contradict. We can't say something is so just because the evidence doesn't contradict it. The actor is trying to do a take for her own or his own performance for one time, not to establish something that is true about Lincoln or Booth always and forever, which is kind of our job. So, talking about Lincoln in Topdog, Underdog, how we understand Lincoln is about how we would understand his intent, his motivation. What is he trying to get? These guys are both fairly mysterious in what they want. Booth is more comprehensible or closer to comprehensible, although what he wants is contradictory. He's very cathected, as Freud says on his older brother. Cathexis is Freud's weasel word for like you're strongly emotionally invested in someone. Do you love them? Do you hate them? Do you fear them? Do you want to be them? Yes. Cathexis. It's not love or hate, it's love, hate, love, that. The actor playing Booth has to figure out what his emotional relationship to Lincoln. Playing Booth has to figure out what his emotional relationship to Lincoln is. Lincoln is an even more mysterious character. Why is he here? Why is he in his hapless younger brother's no running water boarding house room? You know, after there's been bad blood, after his brother has cuckolded him, when Booth doesn't actually provide any of the rent money, why the hell is he here? The script does not give an answer. The actor has to choose. That choice isn't right or wrong, it is only useful. But the actor playing Lincoln also has to make a decision. When does he begin to con Booth? By the end of the play, he is clearly conning Booth. And before the end of the play, he has clearly pretended to lose the 3-card Monte game in the standard way a con man does, to build up the stakes, to build the mark's confidence, to further the con game. When did that start? There isn't a single right answer, but the interpretive choice matters enormously. Does he decide, is there a particular scene, is there a particular moment when he begins to con his brother? And we'll see our critics have different ideas about this. Is he conning his brother the whole time? There's one way to make this choice, where his intention, he is always there to get that $500 away from his brother. Why? Because I don't know. That seems like a lot of work for $500 that he could make otherwise, just by playing the cards elsewhere. Is he working Booth as a mark for the entire play? That is a plausible, though by no means necessarily true answer. Actors' answers have to be sufficient, not necessary. Could be that. Plausible, not necessarily true. Somewhere in there, the actor playing Lincoln has to decide when the conning game begins. The actor playing Lincoln also has to decide what's going on with Lincoln's relationship to alcohol, with his relationship to the cards, his attempt to get over it. What is he resisting? What is he? He is clearly on some level fighting those cards. Sometimes when Booth doesn't see him, we are told by the stage direction he is resisting playing the cards. What is going on with his struggle, with his return, trying not to return to his con game life? And you got to ask, what leads him back?